Everyone, this is Demcar again with lesson 2.4, MultiStep Inequalities. Today, we'll be learning about these inequalities and how to solve them, while going through some examples. The process to solving inequalities is the same as the process to solving equations, with only one extra step. To see what this means, let's take the problem negative 10 is less than or equal to 5 minus 2m plus 15. When solving any inequality, the first step you should do is distribution, whether you're trying to distribute parentheses or getting rid of the denominators of fractions. However, as we can see, there isn't anything like that, so we can just move on to the next step, which is combining like terms. 5 and 15 can be added together to make 20. So that'll give us negative 10 is less than or equal to 20 minus 2m. Now that all like terms have been combined, we can proceed to the final step of performing inverse operations. When we solve inequalities, we are trying to isolate the variable. Getting rid of any addition or subtraction makes this process much easier. So we can get rid of the 20 by subtracting it from both sides. So that'll give us negative 30 is less than or equal to negative 2m. We can now do this extra step, which is reversing the inequality. We don't want a negative variable, so we need to make it positive. To do this, we can multiply both sides by negative 1. This will multiply with the negative 2, making it a positive 2. So that'll give us 30 and 2m. And since we're changing the signs of both sides, the less than sign flips as well, resulting in 30 is greater than or equal to 2m. Then we can divide 2 from both sides, leaving us with 15 is greater than or equal to m. And that is our solution. Let's look at another problem. Again, following the steps from before, we have to first distribute. The first half of this equation an inequality can be distributed. So distributing this would give us negative 2x plus 18 is greater than 3x minus 66. Now that there's nothing else to distribute, and neither sides have anything to combine, we can now go straight to performing inverse operations. So here we can subtract 18 from both sides first, which will leave us with negative 2x is greater than 3x minus 84. And again, we can subtract 3x from both sides, which will leave us with negative 5x greater than negative 84. And now we can perform the extra step again, multiplying negative 1 on both sides, as well as flipping the greater than sign. So this would leave us with 5x is less than 84. And again, now we can finish our inverse operations. So here we divide 5 on both sides, and that will leave us with x is less than 84 divided by 5. Now I'm leaving this as a fraction because it's still the same as a decimal, but just using a decimal is also correct, but you can also use a fraction in this situation as an answer. It wouldn't be wrong. So now let's look at one challenging problem. Now I'd like you to first pause the video and try this problem on your own. Once you're done, play the video as I review the problem. Okay, let's solve this problem. Again, let's follow the steps from before. We had to first distribute whatever's possible. So the first two parentheses can be distributed. So here in the first one, negative 7 will be distributed to 1 and 7x, which would give us negative 7 minus 49x. And the second one will be negative 9 being distributed to x and negative 15, which will give us negative 9x plus 135. And on the other side, we have negative 8x plus 4x. So we can just combine that to negative 4x. So it would be less than or equal to negative 4x. We can now perform inverse operations. We can subtract 128 from both sides first. Oh, sorry. First, let's combine the left side. Because, as you can see, there's still things that can be combined, like negative 7 and 135. And negative 7 plus 135 would give us 128. And negative 49x minus 9x would give us negative 58x. And that is less than or equal to negative 4x. So now we can perform inverse operations. So here we can subtract 128 from both sides, which will give us negative 58x is less than or equal to negative 4x minus 128. And after that, we can add negative 4x to both sides, which would give us negative 54x is less than or equal to negative 128. We can now do the extra step again, and multiplying both sides by negative 1, and flipping the less than or equal to sign. So that would give us 54x is greater than or equal to 128. And now we can divide both sides by 54, which will result in x is greater than or equal to 128 divided by 54. Also, we can further simplify this to x is greater than or equal to 64 divided by 27. Now all I did here is just divide the first answer by 2. Like I divided the numerator and denominator by 2. So nothing is changing here, because 2 divided by 2 is basically just 1. So it's the same as just saying 128 over 54 divided by 2 over 2. And as we know, 2 over 2 is just 1. So this is the correct answer. Either of the answers are correct, but the second one is more simplified. So in conclusion, once solving multi-step inequalities, just remember these 3 steps: distributing, combining, and doing inverse operations, along with the extra step of multiplying both sides of the inequality by negative 1, if needed. Thank you, and that was STEM Choir with Lesson 2.4, Multi-Step Inequalities.